Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris or Fellow Sews on social media. Welcome back to SewOver50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. Grab a cuppa and relax with us. On Sew Organised Style podcast, I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we record this podcast and pay respects to the elders past and present. Thanks for joining us on SewOver50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. SewOver50 intersects with all communities. We're a community that is sew over ageism. Lindy of Stokx Patterns is back on the podcast as we've received lots of warm feedback about her earlier podcast in April. Thanks everyone for your kind messages. In this podcast, Lindy talks about the amount of help she's received from many people in the SewOver50 community. Lindy also talks about the hashtag stokxinthewild that has now over 200 posts on Instagram. More importantly, I hope you take the time to go to Lindy's blog post called The Missing Measurements Chart on her website. Let's go to Lindy's chat about the various people in the SewOver50 community that have reached out to her and provided their feedback as she's been developing her patterns for the community.
Do you mind if I just tell you a story?
Yeah, tell me the story.
Okay, well, I was thinking about Sewing Friends and thinking about how I got started and how Sandy actually introduced me to Sue Stoney and Susie Sewing in Spain.
Oh, yeah.
They had a summer dress sew-along, and I didn't have really a summer dress in my collection, so I found the Zephyr dress and got that together as quickly as possible. And I realised that I could hack it and make it sleeveless. So I put up a small post about that. And Susie made a beautiful yellow linen one, a sleeveless Zephyr dress. Then I've got a lady in northern Queensland. She's not on social media, but she and I correspond sometimes, and she'll send me pictures of her makes. And she kindly allowed me to share her picture. She'd taken a Chris top, which is also a raglan, but turned it also into a sleeveless piece and added a wider version of the Chaos collar. And then Rhonda from Anarchy Quilter saw these and she just elongated the Chris top, left the sleeves on, put on a even madder Chaos collar and cut it out of this checkered light cotton. Completely stunning. I mean, that is now a Zephyr Gossamer Chris elongated hybrid. That makes me so happy.
Oh, good.
You know, that's part of the creative ping pong that I get from SewOver50 and the openness. And I mean, there's such a wide range of skills. And, there's rabbit holes you can go down as makers. You can go down the kind of, I'm going to make the perfect sleeve, I'm going to make the perfect trouser, I'm going to make the perfect jacket, or I'm going to make a perfect Chanel. And the thing is, I don't believe perfect exists. It's all about what you decide is important. I think that's one little story I wanted to share because I find that so important, that we're all part of the creative process.
Are you finding that the creative takes on your patterns are coming from a particular country or group? Have you noticed any trends and where have you seen them?
That's actually something that I'm actionating something now. I'm using that word. That's a ridiculous word, actionating. I've started a hashtag called stokxinthewild.
Yes, I've seen that.
And I've started stokxinthewild because I don't know what people are making and I'd really love to know. I respect people's privacy, but I'm not judgy. I just think, well, if somebody is, for example, plus size and they've made something, then they can help another plus size person by showing them how they look in that particular garment. But where is it happening? Well, I just posted something on social media. The hacker top is something that's been bouncing around. And that's fun. That's really fun. So Sue Stoney's done a few. There's a couple in Finland. There's a couple in the States. I even saw one up in Canada. And that's incredible. That's incredible. The hacker, it's really easy. It ticks all the boxes. I mean, I wear it when I'm long haul traveling because I can get inside it and pull the hood down over my eyes and have a nap. And I wear it also with my big pants because then I can put everything in the pockets and then I've got the hacker and I can pull it over my eyes. And I mean, I look like a disaster when I travel. And of course, with the hood on and the big pants, that works for me. And I think that when you decide what you want to wear, I mean, I don't really get this whole trend thing. I think that we're all coming into ourselves and choosing the things that we think are important. And I really respect that.
Going back to the hashtag stocks in the wild, is that something for right now, or is that something that you would like to keep ongoing to see what the trends are with your patterns?
I would love to keep it going. It just jumped into my head. It's something that I say all the time, like stocks in the wild and releasing the patterns. And then I saw Wendy in, I think she's also been on your show.
Yes, she has.
And she posted a picture of her Annie Rock, and it was in her kitchen. And it just made me laugh because I thought, okay, that's stocks in the wild. I mean, even though it was in her kitchen, I thought, well, the wild for me is something I haven't made. So that can be anywhere. It's like how you live your life in your garment. And so it's also been a bit chaotic. So some people have just named things Hackertop rather than Stokx Hackertop. And so just with getting the communication out there, there needs to be a little bit of consistency with how things are hashtagged. So I've used Stocks in the Wild also to encourage people to do this. Yeah, I want to make it fun. And yes, I would really like it to be a continuing thing. And I've got some prizes up there just to bribe people to open that cupboard. And I'm not printing octopus for a while, but I've got a couple that I've kept in my cupboard, and I'm going to bribe people with those, because the only way you can get them is to share your stocks in the wild. So if that doesn't get you to open your cupboard, I don't know what else I can do.
So again, stocks in the wild is a hashtag that you've created so that you can see how people are using stocks patterns where they live.
Yeah.
And the way that people are using your patterns, are you also finding that they're budding that hashtag with other hashtags? Are there any other trends?
Yeah, I see them on Julie's hashtag, consistently different designs. She's got her "What am I working on today" hashtag, and so it'll come up there. It'll also come up on the Me Gum Sew Along with Sue Stoney and Susie and their guest host.
Yes.
I'll see it there. And it's a new thing. So it's only been, I think we've got about 100 posts at the moment. This is great because there aren't that many patterns out there, but it's moving.
So how many patterns do you have currently at the moment?
So how many patterns are on my website at the moment? I'd say 20 plus, because we put them out pretty quickly initially. We were in the middle of the lockdown, and it was something that I'd planned to do before the lockdown, but it turned into a kind of lifeline for me, just emotionally, to be doing something. So we put a lot out there quickly, but now we're at the stage of trying to hone them back and make some of the lines clearer, because we had some difficulties right at the start just with the design language between me and the graphic designer. And also she was in lockdown. Yeah, it was it was tough. It was really tough.
A lot of organizations have had to go through communicating where you're no longer face to face, but you're remote.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're in very good company.
Yes. I mean that both of us are still standing means that we're lucky. I know that. So I'm not going to go down too much of a thing, but
No.
yeah, it's just been tough. That's all.
Hopefully people will go and have a look at the hashtag stocks in the wild on Instagram, and it'll be great to see it just grow and grow. And that'll also give you, Lindy, lots of feedback about what people are loving and where the opportunities are going to be in the future.
Yeah, and it's also an opportunity to maybe use a blog post and to solve questions that people have about how things fit, because that's the other thing that's really not clear to me yet, how to structure my information. Again, that's not my strong point, and it's something I'm, again, learning by doing. So do I add a page, or do I just keep adding pictures onto the bottom of a blog post, or do I put them underneath the pictures where I show the pattern? These are things that may be clear to some people, but can't do things the easy way, I'm afraid. I just have to just like wait until something goes, aha, and then I think, all right, I'll try that.
Good.
That's part of my process.
And it'll be good for listeners and people who use stocks patterns to send you a direct message and give you a hand wherever they can.
I mean, that would be wonderful. And I've got some people that are really, really helpful to me.
Mhm.
I recently put out a bit of a call for someone to help me with some pants I've just released called Square Pants. One of my favourite Vikings has put up a hand. She's going to help me out.
Good.
So I'm very happy about that.
That's awesome.
I've been chasing people down the street if I think that they'll fit into one of my patterns and asking them to model for me. Seriously. I just made some square pants because I've got from size 0 to size 12. So from a 90 centimetre hip to a 160 hip. And they do fit on all kinds of bodies because they've got an adjustable bit at the back and very generous pockets. And so I'd like to photograph them on at least 26 people.
You got to find those people.
I found Björn at the tram stop. I've got a date with him next week. I've tracked down some other people. I've got a yoga lady that I'm really keen to get in contact with, and we're at the messaging stage. So, yeah, let's see how that goes. I'd like to underline everything that SewOver50 stands for. Decency, inclusivity, yeah, my cup of tea.
Lindy will be back to talk more about her blog post called The Missing Measurements Chart in a few weeks' time. Coming up on Instagram is the next SewOver50 Live hosted by Bird and Molly on the 31st of May. Bird will lead this chat with Pauline Bruce of So You Think You Can, and she's the co-creator of the hashtag SewHackable Challenge. I hope you'll join them live. The recording of Sew50 Live will always be available on the SewOver50 account. If you want to provide a guest post for SewOver50, make sure you direct message Judith and Sandy at SewOver50 on Instagram. This episode for SewOver50 podcast on Sew Organised Style was produced by me, Maria Theoharis, with permission of Lindy of Stokx Patterns, sound by bensound.com. You can subscribe to Sew Organised Style podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you go back and listen to over 140 free SewOver50 podcasts and listen to your SewOver50 friends. There are now over 330 podcasts on Sew Organised Style. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.